Hi everyone, I'm very glad to see you all here today. Let's wait for my guest to connect. Hi Anya, how are you?
Hello, hello. Glad to see you. I'm
I'm,
good, very good, excited.
I'm very glad to see you too. So, well, now that we're all here, I would like to welcome everyone again on our first live stream at Artella London. I'm very glad you're here today. And so I would like to introduce my gorgeous guest, a very good friend of mine and my uh, group mate, very skilled neurosurgeon and brain researcher in California, Anna. Please welcome. How are you today?
Hello, thank you. Thanks, I'm good. Thank you for introduction. Yeah. Happy to be here. Thanks for hosting. Yeah.
Thank you. So, first of all, I would like to say that I created Artella with the idea to motivate people to live in a moment and also to understand that storytelling plays an important part in our lives. And not only the storytelling, but also all other types of the arts. And I wanted to ask you, Anna, to first please tell us a little bit more about yourself and about your story as a poet. Oh, there is some connection problem. I'm sorry about that. Anna has disconnected.
Yeah, perhaps something with my internet connection. I don't know.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
are you here now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
Great. So I was saying that before we start our conversation, I would like to ask you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and also about your story as a poet, because you are this, a great, wonderful example of the combination of a scientific mind and also a very creative mind. So could you tell us a little bit more about yourself, please?
Oh, yes, thank you. Um, okay, I'm a neurosurgeon by trade with more than 10 years of clinical and research experience in the field. I'm an active member of European Association of Neurosurgical Societies and Congress of Neurological Surgeons in the United States. Currently, I don't work as a neurosurgeon, but I continue my career in a science. Somehow it is connected with the neuroscience, very interesting project, and I hope I will be able to tell you more. But now it's I'm restricted a little bit with NDA, so I cannot tell you the whole piece. Um, also, I work in startups as a business analyst and a member of advisory board. Startups are connected with neurotech, and I'm a professional coach of International Coaches Union, and also I work as a coach and neuro coach as well. That's about my background a little bit. I moved to the United States like 4 months ago, I would say. And recently I've got O1 visa. This is a type of visa for talented people with extraordinary abilities. I'm glad that I have this type of person, and I was approved. Yeah, and yeah, as you mentioned, I assume that I'm a very creative person, and most of all, I like poetry. I think that the story has begun from my childhood and from my grandfather. He was a great poet, despite on the fact that he taught physics and mathematics, and so you can assume that he probably was very logical. Of course, he was,
Absolutely.
but yeah. But at the same time, he was so creative. He liked poetry, he liked art, he liked performances, he liked to speak in front of the public. And he has a lot of poems, and we issued his book, and it's like very, very thick. Yeah. Um, he inspired me to write poems. I think that everything has started from him. And that's one more tip about creativity. I think that our surrounding has an influence on us. So it depends where we're born, and our people who surround us, circumstances around us. It has an influence, impact on our life and what we're gonna do in the future. That's why it's so important to build your network with a proper surrounding, I would say. Yeah.
Absolutely. Surround yourself with right people and you will know what to do. That works. I agree very much. And I cannot emphasize less about how creative you are and how creative your grandfather was. Well, I just also wanted to ask you, what do you write about? And do you think there is connection between medicine and art, and why do you choose to write, you know, why do you choose to write poems? Why does it help you in some ways? Does it heal you, or does it help to work in medicine?
You know what? I think that this is some kind of a healing tool for my soul. And talking about connection between medicine and art, I think that people who work in medicine, they are initially emotional, right? I hope you will agree.
Well, I
Um,
agree, yes.
it's a very important feature for those who want to work in medicine, to be empathetic to other people, and it really depends on how emotional you are, and that's why emotionality, I think, leads to creativity. There is a correlation to my mind. And talking about poems, it helps me to cope with my emotions. Sometimes I feel I feel anxious, or I can feel depressed, or I have a very big range of feelings and emotions, and poetry helps me to write it down, to express myself, like to speak my mind in the way of poems, and it helps me to calm, to relax, and it helps me to feel that I'm creating something which is like the part of me. It also can have an influence on other people, because when someone's like my poems, I do really appreciate. I feel so happy, and I feel happy when they inspire other people. So yeah, to my mind, medicine and art and creativity, the connection lies in empathy and emotionality, first of all. Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with everything that you said. And I also agree that people working in medicine are very emotional initially. Maybe in a way, art would help us to cope with burnout. So it is a good tool for us to keep healthy. So I just wanted to say to a viewer that generally we cannot define health as a just absence of the disease. It includes also our mental, emotional health, as well as social well-being. And according to World Health Organization, since probably the beginning of 21st century, there has been more research done in the field of the arts and arts effects to our health and our well-being. And so it has been established that there are a lot of positive things that arts do to us. So starting from supporting, children in their development, and finishing end-of-life care and people with mental health diseases, different acute medical situations, maybe neurological, different medical conditions. So we cannot say that they're not connected. But also, I see another thing here is that when you think about artists, do you think they have to be brave enough to communicate their idea with the viewer? So they have to be very ready to express themselves on the canvas or with any other medium, through that medium, to communicate that idea. So the same applies to a doctor or neurosurgeon or any other type of clinician, because of course practice of medicine involves a lot of precision, calculated decision making, but also that fundamental creative process which involves our imagination, because we have to acknowledge and understand how medical procedure will affect a person, and so how their life will be affected afterwards. And so yes, as they say, a good surgeon knows when to not to operate, isn't it?
Yeah. Just trying to find proper words. That's doctors. They should, if we talk about doctors and creativity, and medicine and creativity, of course we have clinical and analytical thinking. And talking about surgery, this is fine motor skills, which are also important to improve creativity as well. So yeah, if we want our children to be creative, we need to develop fine motor skills for them with little games and so on. And surgical part of the job is a highly developed fine motor skills. And to make a right decision, to assess some long-term results of job, of the surgery, of treatment, we need to view a bigger picture, to see something which is behind. And this ability to see something behind and to rely sometimes on your gut feeling, I think in medicine it works. We need to be creative, and it's I cannot divide actually science work, like surgery, medicine, any type of logical work. I cannot divide from creativity. But you mentioned that creative people, artists, do they need to to be more open to the public? I think if we will talk about genius people who really focus on what they are doing in terms of art. I mean, I can draw paintings, I can do it, but I wouldn't assume that this is a piece of art. It's just, I'm more confident in poetry. But you draw pictures, very beautiful pieces of art, so you have a wonderful talent in this particular area of art. And it means that you mostly focus on this part. And people who are genius, I will come back to my previous thought. I think that one of the common feature of genius people is like introvertic type of personality. I think they are introvert. They like to be concentrated on some particular process of creating something. Like and that's why it's probably hard to express yourself in front of the public. They probably creative people, they talk to the public through their work. And the same way I talk to other people or to people, I want to say something that I'm afraid to say eye to eye, yeah, through my poems. And the same way, like I think artists do. I remember the situations when I participated in different art exhibitions in the beginning, when artists like participate in the beginning opening of exhibition. Usually these people, they are like trying to hide from this public.
Oh,
to
yeah.
go away somewhere. So please don't ask me questions, just leave me alone, just watch my work and do what you want, but don't bother me. So I think that this introvertic part is a common feature. I think that I also kind of introvert, but at the same time I like to speak in public. I mean, there is a big difference for me to speak like online or somewhere at the conference, and it's extremely hard for me to, for example, somewhere at the conference, to during a coffee break to start networking from myself. I mean, to go to someone and ask like, I'm
How
Hannah.
are you?
I'm
Who
Anna.
are
What's
you?
your so what's your name? And to start conversation like in the reality. For me, it's really hard. But it's easy for me to talk online, like on the platform or from the Tribune while I present something on the conference, because there is a like slight distance between you and the audience. Yeah, and we talk to our audience through our words and through our creations. Yeah.
So is this a fear of rejection or some kind of, I don't know, maybe even an imposter syndrome, or why does it happen? What do you think? Why do you have this fear of talking with people in person?
It's I think there are lots of reasons. First of all, yeah, as everyone, I guess I have this feeling of being rejected. But while so during my life, I'm gaining some experience, and I realized that everything is part of the practice. And even to network, to expand your connections, it's also practice. So once you start to do it, you ask someone to get acquainted, and then you see that like nothing bad happens, so it's okay. So you can do it. So that's good to go into the fear and just start. Doing something, and then brain will recognize that it's a safe pathway and you can go ahead with it. So that's an important thing.
The thing that you are saying, gave me this thought that essentially our art, yes, any type of art, when we look at it, we perceive it, but we are also evaluating it somehow. We're judging it, and we're also enriching it with a particular type of feeling. So it could be either pleasurable feeling or unpleasurable feeling. And so if it's that pleasurable feeling, exactly what you are mentioning, where our brain recognizes that this activity is okay, it's safe zone, you can go for it and you will survive, then we sort of start liking this activity and we repeat it again and again. So probably it's also somehow connected to Darwin's theory of evolution, isn't it?
um,
Like our brain,
Perhaps because
was anatomically created in such a way that it would just determine our behavior. So that's why we probably get some basic fears, isn't it? Which we can cope with or we cannot cope with.
That's true. We need to survive. We need to overcome obstacles, to go through fears, to learn how to practice. So, and that's develop our brain. That's develop ourselves as human being, and our social brain develop due to evolution as well. So while we communicating, while we do something, express our feelings, speak our minds, we develop constantly. And you know what? I've got an insight about art and about artworks and paintings. You told about emotions. You know what? I think sometimes when artist draws a picture or painting, he can add to this picture some negative, let's say, or sad emotions. But the interesting point that the viewer can feel absolutely opposite while looking at this picture. It just depends on your subconsciousness, on the interpretation of what you see. The same picture can be interpreted by different people differently. The same poem can be, for some people, it can be positive, full of energy. For other people, it can be like sad and depressive. But it just depends on something inside of a viewer. So it's some kind of a dialogue between artist, between viewer. That's very interesting point, I think.
I absolutely agree. I find it interesting as well. And I have another question for you. Speaking about the brain and about our perception, how does the brain get more meaning in this external stimuli? Because essentially we're not just perceiving, as you mentioned, our perception is somehow connected, as we name it, maybe with the consciousness, but probably, well, as I imagine, perception as a separate process does not probably require consciousness, all the time, because what I wanted to say is that, look, we have robots, we have different type of machines who can analyze external stimuli and without any, deeper meaning. But the brain manages to find that deeper idea in what it perceives. How does it happen?
I'm not sure that I have an exact answer to this question. I have just some thoughts, and I think it depends on our cortex. Yeah, so our ability to think analytically. Yeah, when our organism receives some stimuli, first of all, we can assess this stimuli subconsciously, but the main point is like to understand what's going on is to like switch to turn on your frontal cortex, frontal lobes, and to like evaluate the situation, to turn on critical thinking, and it will help to see, to watch the whole picture, not only like emotional part, but the whole picture, to assess all possible situations. Like you need to gather as much information as possible from the outside, and then to collect and to revise this information. And that's the way how creativity helps to come up with wonderful ideas. we need sometimes to so to make some decisions, we need to focus on them. We need analytical thinking, but to come up with um, new novel, some kind of novel idea, we need to switch off this control and start being more creative. And that's an interesting point. I've been a few weeks ago in Palo Alto, and my friend gave me some kind of tour in Palo Alto. So that's the city in Bay Area where Stanford University is located, where Steve Jobs lived, and he told me an interesting story, part of Steve Jobs' biography, that all his meetings, no, okay, not all his meetings, like most of his meetings, he just walked with someone who he wanted to discuss some point with. He walked on the street, so it wasn't like a cup of coffee in cafe just sitting and talking, you know. It was walking across the streets of Palo Alto and talking, you know, watching nature, trees, like how birds singing, and you know, all this stuff. And it helped to come up with wonderful novel ideas. So yeah, probably we need to, creativity helps to distract a little bit from control and to come up with some insights. And insights usually appear when we not focused, when we relaxed, when we enjoy something, traveling or reading a book. And usually I even how I write poems. Sometimes it comes for me like an insight, but sometimes it comes for me when I read or listen to other poets or poetesses. After, for example, some kind of poetical concert, I can write a poem. A few weeks ago, I've been at the performance by Dmitry Bykov here in California, and I wrote a poem right after the performance because I was inspired. Probably, if we'll talk about the brain, it's because of mirror neurons in our brain. So when we response to someone's activity with our own activity. So who knows, maybe.
So yeah, this way we get more inspiration. We just get inspired, but also I think that physical activity is generally very healthy, so it stimulates maybe our thinking in some ways. You know, I got another question for you. Do you think we can train our brain to be more creative?
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned physical activity, and what I want to say that our brain activity consists from different waves of activity. So active wakefulness, for active wakefulness, responsible beta waves on EEG. Alpha waves are responsible for creativity. That's the point. And alpha waves we usually have when we meditate, when we are relaxed, when we are distracted. And these waves, they promote creativity. And physical activity, when, for example, we after swimming or some gym exercises, we develop this. We develop our mind, set our brain on alpha waves, and we can be more creative after physical activity. By the way, That's why it's to promote creativity. It's important to do physical exercises. It doesn't matter what you do, like yoga or just walking or swimming or you go to the gym. It doesn't matter. It's very good tool not only for developing muscles, but for your health, but also for your mental health. It's extremely important. And another thing that uh, about developing of creativity, as I said, surrounding. So if I suppose, and it's also about mirror neurons. If you want to be more creative, like go to the places where it's going on. I mean, go to the art exhibitions, listen to the concert, listen to the music, do something which is connected with art. Music also has a big influence on our mind. For example, marching music stimulates us. It creates better activity in our brain. At the same time, calm and relaxing music such as sound of rain or birds singing helps us to relax. So it works. Our brain responds on even different sounds and music. So mind what you are listening to. If you want to be more energetic, like turn on something active and energetic. If you want to be relaxed, turn on some classical music. So yeah, there is a correlation between. And and one more thing, we need to practice. We need to do something constantly. No one was born able to play violin, right?
Right.
It's a skill, and everyone can develop some kind of a skill. It just demands some time and demands some focus, energy, and that's it. And the more you practice, the more you will get. So practice makes perfect. That's a quote, and it really works. And I would say that genius people. Instead, in comparison with like ordinary people, they just have the difference in speed of connection between their neurons in the brain and a special pathway. So when you do something constantly, you practice a lot, you focus on it, you develop a very stable pathway between neurons in the brain. Very stable type of connection. And some actions, they become automatically after years of practice, and you can easily do something. So yeah, this skill can be developed. But of course, we have some talents, innate talents, but I still think that it also depends on the surroundings, people around us, the family where we're born, and people who, and the company where we've been. It has an influence. Yeah.
I also strongly believe that our surroundings plays an important part in our development and the development of our talents. I also, somehow started, whilst you were talking, I started thinking about actually thinking. As we say, we can train our brain to be more creative. So can we train ourselves to think differently, or somehow to, think more positively, maybe? Can we do that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can do it on purpose. We can ask for help of psychologist or coach. That's I keep saying that coaching is a wonderful tool of development, of any kind of development, like in career, in creativity, in family relationships, like any kind, because it helps to look to the problem from different side, from different angle. Usually, we depend on our habits, how we used to live, yeah, how we like to live, but we probably don't understand what is like behind or our focus or our frame. And that's why it's very important to be more creative, to meet as much people as possible, to create your network, and to travel, to see something new, to be open for new information. And that's the tool which will help uh, to make important decisions in our life. And you know, about creativity also, what I wanted to say, and talents, and about surrounding. Some people think that they are not so talented, you know, or not able to achieve huge goals in their life, like they are just ordinary. That's a myth. We are all talented. It just depends on where you are located and people around you. Um, just find what you want to do and create a proper surrounding. I mean, supporting surrounding. If you feel supported, so you will succeed. You will just focus, you will be confident on what you are doing, you will succeed. That's extremely important, to find supporting surrounding and to create it. So we are all absolutely talented. So just trust your talent, leverage your potential, and invest into your development, and go for it.
Go for it. Yes, it's safe to go for it. Just go for it. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, somehow this everything that you were saying made me think of another question. Anna, what do you think? Creating art, being poetic, I don't know, any kind of executing any kind of artistic activities, does it depend only on our skill, or is it a higher calling? Because as you said, we all are talented, equally talented. And so if we assume we are, so, and we surround ourselves with, you know, right people, right tools, maybe we can achieve, we can evolve. But is it still there is something else in art, in this need to create art, or, you know, practice medicine, say, or doing anything else, or that just finding that particular skill that you want to develop? So do you think it's a higher calling, or is it just a skill, so we make a decision and we just go for it and try to master it better?
Quite frankly, I think that still there is something more than we can understand. Of course, we can create and develop some talents, but there are lots of things we cannot explain. Why we have some passion to this particular path. We cannot explain. Of course, it depends on our subconsciousness. You need to know your psychology, to work with psychologists or psychotherapists. Like, yeah, it's important. But anyway, there are still something we cannot explain. I mean, you feel that you need to speak yourself through. Through art, yeah, through the medicine, through poems or literature, like music, dancing, like whatever. I don't know how to explain it. There are still something unexplainable.
I completely agree, you know, with you. I completely agree with you because, well, speaking about myself, I like to create art and I like doing it. I like everything about it because it gives me some kind of inner peace. I don't know, some kind of good feeling. I have this
Mhm.
great degree of satisfaction when I do it. And so I like to do it for people, you know, to make them also feel it, maybe what I feel when I do it, or maybe learn something, or maybe communicate an idea to them, but I choose to do it, you know. And so I believe that yes, if we like it, if we just have to go for it and do it. So you're absolutely right. But
It's true. And by the way, sorry for interrupting.
yeah, it's okay.
I'm a big fan of you and of your
Oh, thank
artwork,
you.
and even from our common studying at the university. So yeah, you are doing a great job. Keep going. Thank you for what you are doing.
Thank you very much, Anna. I really appreciate your words. Thank you very much. It's very motivating, by the way. It's very motivating to go forward. I have one more last question for you before we maybe ask our audience if they want to ask anything.
Okay.
Do you, I read somewhere that this neuroscience of science of creativity does not support the idea that the creative process as such stimulates a particular region in our brain, a single region of the brain, or a single side of the brain, like right or left brain. So do you think it's true?
Yes, I think that there is no particular part of the brain which is responsible for just like for creativity is a very large process. This process consists of lots of tiny steps. Let's say playing like violin, right? You need to have some motor skills, like fine motor skills, and some vision, and an ability to hear music and to assess what you are doing. So lots of part of brain are involved in the process. Parts which are responsible for hearing, for imaging, for working of our fingers. Yeah, it's impossible to say that. And the same about dancing. Yeah, it's motor function, but at the same way, it's an art. It's also some kind of creativity. So um, some sources tell us that temporal lobes, especially right temporal lobes, are responsible for creativity, and probably like creative people have more developed right temporal lobe. But I don't think that it's I think it's mostly some kind of a myth, because lots of areas are involved in the process, and that is why art and creativity is important for neuroplasticity, because while doing some complicated things such as playing musical instruments, for example, very good tool for preventing brain aging, by the way, and to prevent yourself from Alzheimer's disease, like to play musical instruments. It's a complicated process. Different area from the brain are involved, and different connections created between neurons, and it's a good connection and communication between hemispheres of our brain, right and left, when you do something with our both hands, and when we do something simultaneously. So yeah, it's a core of neuroplasticity. It's a core of our development. It's a core of our brain health, mental health, and this process is spread on the whole brain. So lots of part are responsible for
Yes, lots of
for
involved in the process.
yeah, it's true.
Thank you, thank you. It's very insightful. You made me think about, you just, as we talked about dance. Dance also, look, as a motor skill would aid people with Parkinson's disease. So it's also another part of this art, but at the same time, it is a creative process.
Yeah. And you know what I also wanted to add about art and health? art, health, and medicine. So even if you don't, if you're not able to dance, let's say, or to draw paintings, let's say, even to observe, to watch it, it also helpful. Go for a classical music concert. It's also helpful for our mindset, for our mental health. So what because of I suppose it's also because of mirror neurons, because we respond on what we are looking for, what we are. It's very important what you are, which things you are focused on. If you are focused on wonderful things, beautiful things, creative things, you will respond to them, even from the beginning, subconsciously. Yeah, it will, develop on your mood anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I like classical music, by the way. Do you like it?
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. Yeah, me
Yes,
too.
yes. And, you know, you made me think about our university times, and I suddenly remembered how I sang in the choir. Anna, I would like to really say big thank you to you for today, for our great conversation. I highly appreciate it as a guest here. And
Thank you.
I just want to ask our audience whether they have any questions for us.
Yeah, let's wait a little bit. I would be happy to answer the questions. Just go
Yes,
ahead. Don't be afraid to ask.
yes, guys, if you have anything to ask, please just drop a message whilst we're still here.
Yeah, it's a really nice talk. I enjoyed. I feel so inspired right now. I know that there is an evening in the UK and in Belarus as well.
Yes.
In Belarus, it's what time is it in Belarus?
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's almost 12, so it's late time. But I have the whole day ahead. So it's currently 1 p.m. in California, so I have the whole day and I'm so inspired. Thank you so much
Great.
for hosting me. It's really great.
Yes. I will have just a cozy evening here in UK. Yeah.
Good.
So, somehow there are no questions. Are you sure, guys? There is nothing to ask. Please feel free if you feel like asking. Mm. You know, Anna, essentially, I think that creativity and also imagination makes us human, and that is the most important thing.
Yeah, it helps us to socialize, and I think we are Homo sapiens because we are social people. It's the main thing. Our social brain helps us to achieve such wonderful things, technologies, and all we have in our modern world. And without an ability to communicate, to build network, I think we wouldn't be able to do it. So it's like 1 + 1, it's 11, not like two. Yeah, right.
Yes.
So,
Right.
and art and creativity is a way how we can communicate, express our feeling, respond to other people's feeling. That's extremely important to develop such kind of skills. We initially have the skills, but we can improve them. There is no limit for improvement, by the way. There is no limit.
Absolutely. There is always room to improve. We have to strive to do it. Thank you very much for today, Anna. I think we don't have any questions for today. We don't have any questions, so I think I will end this live stream now. Thank you, and I really hope to see you again.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to ask you to tag me as a collaborator in the end of the video, so I could also post it on my profile. This our wonderful talk.
Sure,
I
I
think
will
lots of
do
people
that.
will watch it later.
I'm
Okay.
very I'm very grateful that you have mentioned about it because I wasn't sure. It's my
Yeah,
first
thank you.
time.
Just yeah, great. It's your
Okay.
first stream on Instagram. Yeah, congratulations. I think we succeed. So it was really great. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks. Great job. Yeah,
Yeah.
just please focus on these collaborator things. It will be after the video recording, I suppose. Just
Okay.
yeah, make
Sure.
sure.
And to make
Great,
sure we
wonderful.
save
Mhm.
the live stream here on our pages. Okay.
Great.
Okay,
Thank
guys.
you
So
so much. Good night. Enjoy
good
your
night, darling.
weekend.
Bye to everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.